How are we? I know. Harry is always late. He's always late to the stream. Every week, Harry's late. I know. I'm here though. I'm here. I'm doing good. Thank you all very much. I apologize. I am, as I said in one of my videos last week, I'm traveling all around over Christmas, and I got here last night, and I decided not to set up all my kit last night and leave it to the morning, which is always not a very smart plan. But anyway, we're only 4 minutes late, and some of that's the intro sequence. So we're here. The train, it seems to be the season that we say things that just seem to stick. We had enough is enough, and now that the train has left, the train has set sail. But before we get into all of that, let me say hello to as many of you as I can this morning. So if you are in, say hello, and we will do the usual bits before we get started. Hello and good morning to Ian, to Fiona, to Leon. Who else have got? Hutch. Hello to Fiona. Hello to John. Hello to Jonathan. Hello to Hutchman. Hello to all the members and moderators in this morning. Thanks, H. Thank you all very much for your support, FPL Robbins, and to everyone else. We've got Chad, we've got Paulie, we've got Pauline, we've got Ruben, Rachel, FPL Non-Iron, we've got Engolo, we've got Ludwig, Louise, the Dave Train, Hazza, 1962, 8902, Borin, Jay, Wolverine, FPL, Danish Friends, Johnny, Thomas, FPL Thomas, AA, Ant, Messi, Livra, Data, Bina, Colo, Gans, Colin, Terry, Ghost, and Joan. Hello to you all. Good morning. I hope you're all doing well. Game week 17 is here. And Sean. Hello, Sean. Good morning to you all. Thank you all very much for joining. Game week 17 is here. My team is like it is up on screen. I haven't made any transfers. I've got 4 available. And I think the plan for me will be just to roll my transfer this week. As much as I would like to look to upgrade the Anderson spot, I don't have the money to do it, and I don't see an obvious place for me to get the money this week in order to do it. So as a result, I think I'm going to roll and look to take 5 transfers next week and make a few changes like selling Semenyo. I might even sell Saka next week. I'm not ruling it out. I'm almost certain I'm going to make a forward transfer going into game week 18 in the likes of Jared Bowen or Ekatike, depending on if I can find the money for Ekatike and depending on how I feel about the minutes for him. I could also end up buying Dominic Szoboszlai, who was pictured back in Liverpool training yesterday. So if you've got Dominic Szoboszlai, I would be holding on to him and I would be starting him away at Spurs today if you have him and if he's part of a benching decision. Now, you might have such a strong team that you want to bench Szoboszlai regardless, but for the majority of you, I imagine you will be starting Szoboszlai with the fixture that he does have. Would I play Malik Chow or Trevor Chalobah? I probably would play Chalobah, although I probably think that both teams will score in that game. But if I had to pick, I would choose to start Chalobah. Anderson to Wilson. If I had the money in the bank to do Harry Wilson or Tavernier in for Anderson, I would do it. I would definitely do it. I've got exactly 0.0 in the bank. I've got no money to do an Anderson upgrade. So in order for me to upgrade him, I would have to free up money to do something else instead. So I'm not going to be upgrading Anderson because, I mean, the things that I've looked at, right, is selling Timber to Calafiori as an example, or doing like Raya to Pickford this week, or Van Dijk to Konate, or similar things this week in order to free up the money to do Anderson to Wilson. And I'm not really sure that that's worth it. really. I'm not really sure it's a good use of 2 transfers when there might be something else next week. I am aware that I'm being quite passive with these 5 free transfers, and there are definitely more aggressive ways that I could have used the transfers over the past couple of weeks, and it's impacting things like team value, like initial gains, potentially like buying Harry Wilson, although I was always going to go Semenyo over Harry Wilson last week. So I am aware of that, and we might look to change it up going into game week 18, but this week it's almost certain, unless something happens between now and the deadline, to roll the transfer. It also is a triple captain. Let me put a poll in the chat to see how many of you are playing your triple captain this week. Triple cap. I'm going to just put triple captain anyone, because you might be on Foden, but I don't imagine. Cap Haaland, cap Foden, cap other. Yeah, so I'm on triple captain Haaland. It's been there since the beginning of the week. That's always been the plan. And yeah, I don't imagine that I'm going to move it. The reason that the vice captain is on Semenyo rather than Foden is just in the very, 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 very small chance that for whatever reason the Manchester City game got called off, my triple captain, I wouldn't want to lose the chip, right? So as a result, the vice captain is on Semenyo. Feeling very croaky this morning. What's going on? Maybe that clears it. Yeah, if you're looking to buy a defender, lots of you asking in the chat about O'Reilly. He's got to be the best defender to buy. Not only this week, it's a great entry point at home to West Ham, but also long term, I really like him. Haaland blanked his last 2 home games. I mean, Haaland rarely blanks at home before that, so I don't really have that much of an issue with him blanking at home. Blanked at home to Sunderland, at home to Leeds, but home to Bournemouth, 13. Home to Everton, 13. Home to Burnley, 16. Home to United, 13. So yeah, that doesn't really change anything for me. I actually think Haaland is better at home. I actually think Haaland is probably better at home. Yeah, and actually probably the big thing to discuss this week is Thiago, right? Yellow flagged, didn't play midweek, didn't have a single shot against Leeds last week. We don't know, basically. Basically, we don't know. 0.01 expected goal involvement against Leeds last week is pretty dreadful from Thiago, but I think there's enough chance that he starts. It's a great fixture away at Wolves. If you have a striker and he's going to play Wolves, and yeah, I think this is the week to. I think you should be keeping. I think you should be keeping Thiago. Brentford's away form is awful. Straight swap Thiago to Ekitike. I still think I'd do that next week. I mean, you're going to have the security of minutes for Ekitike that you don't have this week with Thiago, but I don't think I'd be making that swap. I'm interested to see people in the chat thinking that triple captaining Haaland is a bad idea this week. Like, I am that bit saying, is Bruno against Wolves not way better? I mean, just ask the people who have captained. Don't know what's going on. I've got something in my throat. Just ask the people who have captained Bruno over the past few weeks what they think about captaining Bruno over Haaland, and I'm sure they will tell you that Haaland is the better captain than Bruno. Listen, if you don't want to triple captain Haaland this week, the other good options are Ekitike at home to Wolves next week and Bruno at home to Wolves in game week 18. Right, those are the top 3. If you're not going this week, it probably is game week 19. It is the other option I'd do, Bruno at home to Wolves, but yeah, it's going to be on Haaland for me today. As long as he scores something, I'm going to be all right with that. I will be all right with that. The other thing about game week 19 is it's midweek. So you never know. There might be fatigue. Let's say you get to game week 19 and just like last midweek when Bruno had that fixture, I mean, he ended up playing, but he was a doubt, right? And then that's the last week you've got to play it. I actually am not even certain that Bruno is the best captain in game week 19. That's the other thing that puts me off doing it. Now, you might say, well, he obviously is, but Haaland does go away to Sunderland. I don't think it's that clear that Bruno's definitely better. It's amazing what a few points can do to Bruno, because if you went back to game week, before game week 13 started and he went away to Palace, people wanted to sell Bruno, and he was not worth the money. He was only just ticking along. And now after 11, 4, 18, 13, people suddenly want to use their triple captain on him. I think my stance on Haaland versus Bruno has kind of stayed the same. I think Bruno's a great pick. I don't really trust him for the captaincy. I think he does play too deep at times. Now, if he ends up playing further forward for Amorim whilst the others are AFCON, and that might change things a little bit. But yeah, right now, I think it's going to be on Haaland for me. Bruno did miss 2 pens as well. Is it really? Am I really like bright? Is that better? Or am I now quite dark? Is that better? That looks better. Cool. Let's answer some other questions in the chat. Saka and Thiago to Semenyo and Ekitike. So probably another player that we should discuss is Saka. Now, when I bought him a few weeks ago, I was pretty certain that he wasn't worth the money. And I still feel pretty confident that in the long run, I'm not sure Saka's worth the money that we're paying for him with the amount of returns that he's getting. And I think the big thing for us normally on Saka is A, penalties, and B, reliability of minutes. But the issue is at the moment, I don't know if we've got a guarantee of either of those things. I don't know if we've got a guarantee that he's got either. Because over Christmas, could Madueke start a game? Potentially. And could Gyökeres take pens? Also potentially. Now, I think with the fixtures that Arsenal have got, Saka will play them all. I don't see a world where he doesn't start Brighton at home. He definitely starts Villa, Bournemouth and Liverpool. I think Saka probably starts them all, but I'm not sure he's definitely worth the money. The returns have not been great, but it was returns like this that Bruno had before he started hauling. He's had 8 returns so far this season. I'm really not that certain. And when you look at the next sort of 4 or 5 fixtures that someone like a Saka has versus someone like an Ekitike has, if Ekitike was to play all of the games, I think I'd back Ekitike to score more points than I would back Saka to score more points. Now, I don't think there's that much in it, in which case you might say, well, let's save the couple of transfers that it takes to change Saka to Ekitike. But then again, you might say, well, 1.8 million that you're going to save going from Saka to Ekitike is just worth it. Like, just save the money and do something else. So, as I said in the intro, I am considering selling Saka next week. Yeah. I don't think I'll end up doing it. I'll probably only do it if I want Bowen and Ekitike. Bowen didn't rise in price last night, which is very nice. I'm very grateful for that. I technically have exact money to do Raya to Pickford, Anderson to Keane, Thiago to Bowen and Semenyo down. I can't remember exactly what they were. Oh no, and Guiu to Bowen, that was it. Is Saka out for Rice? Good, but I'm also not like. Let me get his stats up, right? Let me get Declan Rice's data up, and as much as I think Rice has been good, I don't know how much I feel that we need to be spending the money on Rice instead. Is Rice definitely worth the money as well? He was very good at the start of the season when he was scoring goals, but he was having like 1 or 2 shots. I think he's had 6 shots in the box the entire season over 16 weeks, which just isn't maintainable for a midfielder. So I'm also a little bit uncertain if there are any Arsenal midfielders that are definitely worth it. I wouldn't buy Eze. People in the chat asking about Eze. His minutes look all over the place now, so I wouldn't be buying Eze. I'm not sure Saka's worth the money. And Declan Rice, his attacking returns have definitely dried up. As Fiona is saying in the chat, you own Rice and he's been very disappointing. And I think a lot of Rice owners will probably think the same. So I'm not selling Saka this week. I'm going to keep an eye on how that game goes this evening. And then I will make a bit of a judgment call. Let's do a few of the super chats. Thank you all very much for them, by the way. We are also, if there's anyone watching who's not subscribed, we are 1,500 subscribers away from 2,200, which would be a little bit of a goal by the end of the year. If you did want to subscribe to the channel, if you are watching and you are new and you do want to join and help us get there, that would be great. If you also want to help us get there, but you're already subscribed, the easiest way to do it is to drop a like on the video. And of course, if you are new, to subscribe. Bench one of Gay, Cash or Anderson. I'd bench Cash with the fixture that he's got. Replacements for Enzo, you've got 7.1. I mean, 7.1 does buy you Declan Rice, right? So you could just go and buy Rice at 7.1. Other options you've got is just coming down to Harry Wilson. You've got to go to Szoboszlai, but if he gets booked this week, you'll regret that. So you could go Harry Wilson and then to Szoboszlai. I probably would go Wilson if you don't own him, I think. Sorry, not... Someone said I said 2,200. 220,000. 220,000. Right. Bench one of Rice, Wilson, Bruno Guimaraes or Bowen. Well, it's not going to be Wilson. It's not going to be Rice. It's either Bruno G or Bowen. And to be honest, it's probably Bowen away at City. I like Bowen a lot and I might buy him next week, but this isn't the best week for him. Play Chow or Chalobah. We did. Bench one of Anderson of Fulham, Richard or Chalobah. I probably would bench Chalobah. Thiago injured on bench boost. Would I still bench boost? So it feels like every week that people have gone to bench boost, there has been some very highly owned player that is just injured, which isn't been great for bench boost this season. But the general rule of thumb, if you've got an injured player on your bench boost, is if you take that player away, do the remaining players score you 10 points on your bench boost? If you think they can, then play the bench boost. If you don't think they'll score 10, then look to save it. I think Game Week 18 still looks the best for bench boost because pretty much everyone owns at least 2 players from the newly promoted teams. Let me know in the chat if you don't own 2 players from a combination of Burnley, Leeds and Sunderland. Because if you own at least 2 from them, Burnley host Everton and Leeds play Sunderland. Like, it's a good week, Game Week 18. It's always been the week that I've penciled in for a lot of people. If you've still got the bench boost left, Game Week 18 is the best default week. Now, you might be like JW and Anton, who've already said, the first 2 people, that they say they've owned none. I mean, I'd love to know who your backup goalkeeper is if you own none, but that's fair. But the majority of people do own those sorts of players. So, of course, it's not a one rule fits all because you might be in that situation. But I would say that the majority of you, Game Week 18 is the best sort of one strategy fits all bench boost week. Will I start Enzo Fernandez or Krupi Jr.? I'd play Enzo. I know there's going to be a little bit of appeal to start Krupi just because he scored last week. The fixture's good, but I don't think there's any guarantee that he starts. And if he doesn't start, you don't want him. And even if he starts, you probably would start him over Enzo, but I think I'd be playing Enzo out of the 2. Isn't Wilson overperforming his XG massively? So yes, he is. Actually, against Burnley, he didn't. His XGI against Burnley was very, very good. But before that, his other returns had been an overperformance. Yes. But some players have the ability to outperform their XG. Like, people are not saying don't buy Foden because he's outperforming his XG. 0.13 XG against Palace, 0.92 against Sunderland, 1.07 XGI for 2 returns. Fulham away, 0.45 XG for 2 goals, 0.7 XG for 2 goals against Leeds. So it is possible that players do go on runs, and Harry Wilson is absolutely on one of those at the moment. So I've got no issue with Harry Wilson's data. I think at his price, he's the best option. If I had the money for Anderson to Harry Wilson, I would have done it in an absolute heartbeat. I would have done it very quickly. If you've got Thiago and Szoboszlai, again, take one of them away, because I think you'll get at least one of Thiago and Szoboszlai. If you take one of them away, do the other players left on your bench boost score you 10 points? If they do, then I would look to play it. You might even want to lower that threshold a little bit, because you've got only a few weeks left to do it. In my personal opinion, when is the best time to free hit? The last chip, your team is not very dissimilar to yours. I potentially would look to play it next week. If I had it, for example, in my team, I'd look to play it next week, and I'd go triple Liverpool, right? I'm not sure I want Ekitike long term, but I really want him next week. So I could do Ekitike in next week and then look to buy Bowen the week after or something. Or you go game week 19 if you're not going to buy Matej Cunha long term. So there's a couple of things in there. Start Calvert-Lewin or Thiago. If you've got Thiago, I would definitely start him. Choose one to bench. We've done. And sell one for Wilson, Eze or Minter. That's really tough because I don't like either at the moment. I actually think I would sell Eze because his minutes are less predictable. But I would be looking to have a replacement for both. Actually, Minter down to Wilson. Does Minter to Wilson get you Eze to Cunha? Because that would probably be the 2 moves that I'd be doing. Oh. I just... yeah, so if Eze to... Or Minter to Wilson, how much is Eze now? Oh, you can't see my screen. There we go. Yeah, if Eze to Minter gets you... Minter to Wilson gives you Eze to Cunha, then I would do that. Cunha is a very good option very soon. I don't love it so much this week, but I think from next week he looks great. Thoughts on O'Reilly, feeling the FOMO? Absolutely. If I could own... I think he'd probably be the number 1 defender I'd want this week that I don't have. He might even be higher than Timber, but maybe that's just because I own Timber. Play Bowen or Malik Chow. I'd play Bowen in that scenario, I think. Bowen's got enough going for him. Yeah, I need to see how they get on today because I might well buy Bowen tonight. Bowen is predicted to rise. He was almost predicted to rise last night. He went very close. Me and Tom, who do the Fantasy Football Scout stream together, were both planning on buying Bowen for game week 18, and we were tracking the price changes, and Bowen was so close. He was predicted to hit the threshold with the amount of transfers that were going on earlier on in the day, and then didn't actually hit it in the end. So he didn't rise. Bench 1 of Van Dijk, O'Reilly, Senesi, Timber. I mean, it has to be Van Dijk. Has to be. Sell Kudos this week or next. I would sell him as soon as possible, probably. Start 3 defenders. Hincapié, O'Reilly, Vandenberg, Truffert, and Richards. I would play Truffert. I would play O'Reilly, and I'd play Hincapié. So Vandenberg and Richards have to get benched. Would I sell Minter for Semenyo for a 1 or 2 week punt? So I feel like I began to talk about this. I began to talk about Minter a little bit. Sorry, not Minter. About Semenyo a little bit. I don't think I'd be buying Semenyo now if I didn't own him. I bought him into my team for a 2/3 week punt, depending on if I keep him for Brentford away, which looks very unlikely for me now. Particularly because he's also on 4 yellows. But buying players for a 1 week punt rarely works. It does work sometimes, and there will be players who do well in the week you want to buy them, but they're also good long term. In order for Semenyo to be a good buy this week, and then for you to sell him next week, he not only has to score, he probably has to get 2 returns for it to be worthwhile you buying him and then selling him again. It might be less because we've got a lot of transfers, but I don't love the sort of dip in, dip out, sort of buy a player for 1 week. I like to buy players for a minimum of 2 weeks, which is what I've done with him, I wouldn't be buying him for one. Like, I'd rather buy Harry Wilson. I probably would rather buy Cunha and go long term with him, or just keep the midfielder you've got in place unless it's in Burmo, and then look to do something else next week. So I don't think I'd be buying some. I think he's fine. I think he's a good pick, but I also think someone like a Tavernier, who's not on 4 yellows, might also be as good a buy. Tavernier likely on pens. He's playing a lot of minutes, and he's 2 million cheaper than him. So if you're not going to buy Semenyo this week, have a look at... I will, in fact, have a look at Tavernier if you're looking at buying Semenyo this week. Cherki or Semenyo for Enzo. I mean, I don't love either. I think there's minutes risk for Cherki very much long term. Again, like, I'd buy Tavernier probably over both of them. I'd buy Harry Wilson probably over both of them. If I had to pick Cherki or Semenyo, I probably would go Cherki. Probably. Would I bench Rice or Bruno Guimaraes? I'd probably play Bruno G, just given how good his home record is. Thoughts on Jimenez as a second striker on a free hit? I wouldn't. Anyone who's got Jimenez in their team, please let XRW know what you think of owning him. He's been frustrating. I don't think he even had a shot last week. I wouldn't be doing that. Like, I'd rather an Ekatike, or I'd rather play a 4-5-1 and go double Arsenal, O'Reilly, Senesi. Like, I'd rather play... I wouldn't have him on that, I don't think. Why do I have Richards benched over Anderson? It's a really close call for me. A lot of you in the chat are asking about Anderson or Richards. Sorry, I want to answer this question first, because I've seen it asked a few times. You've got no money for Foden. What should I do? Sell Bruno to bring him in, or buy Cherki? There must be another way to free up the money than selling Bruno. If you want to sell Saka, if you want to sell Semenyo, you want to sell Van Dijk, you want to sell Timber, all of those, you want to sell Raya, all of those, Zeus, have a look at... Let me know your full team in the comments, and I will let you know who I would probably sell over selling Bruno. I would take a hit to buy Foden instead of buying Cherki. I would find somewhere in your team to free up the money to buy Foden over buying Cherki. I think Foden is so much better. His minutes are so much better. Over Christmas, it's definitely worthwhile. Definitely worthwhile. So Zeus, let me know your team in the chat if you want. So then we're going to have a look, and we're going to talk about my benching decision. I really don't know. I actually think the best thing to do would be to play Richards over Anderson of Fulham. Because at the moment, I've not got anyone playing against each other apart from playing Anderson against Anderson. And if they weren't Monday night, I probably wouldn't do it. And I'm more than happy to admit that having both of them on Monday night is part of the reason that I'm doing it. But I think Richards over Anderson of Fulham is the way that I would probably go. It's close. It's between Richards and Anderson. Anderson of Forest is definitely starting. He's definitely starting. He's a better pick than Anderson of Fulham, because I expect Forest to score on Monday. So if I expect Forest to score, Anderson of Forest is a better pick than Anderson of Fulham. So that then does leave, do I start Richards over any of them? Against Leeds, he's almost very likely to get DEFCON. Leeds put a lot of crosses in. Without Munoz there, they might even attack more down that side, which means Richards has got more defensive duty to do at left back or at right centre back than he's used to. I think Richards is very likely to get DEFCON. I also think Anderson is very likely to get DEFCON. I think it's very close. Who's more likely to get a clean sheet between them? Maybe, well, if I'm saying that I think Forest is going to score, then I would have to say Crystal Palace are more likely to keep a clean sheet. But Anderson's also got a little bit of goal threat. I don't know. I find it very difficult. Let me know in the chat, who would you bench if you were in my position? Zeus, your full team. So this is the situation for those of you. I can already see obvious places to do it. So how short are you of doing Enzo One final question, Zeus, if you could leave it in the chat. How short are you of doing Enzo to Foden? What is that now? It's like 2 million, right? It's like 2 million. I mean, straight away, I do Waltemada to Guiu. Like, straight away. Waltemada to Guiu, Enzo to Foden, straight away. If you can... And that would leave you money to upgrade Dewsbury Hall to Wilson if you wanted to do that as well. Other places you could do it. Tarkowski to Keane, Raya down. But Waltemada to a cheaper forward and Enzo to Foden. I would definitely I'd do those. Let's see what you're saying in the chat about who you'd bench. You'd bench Anderson. You'd bench Richards. The other thing that I've got to take into account with it is the ownership on the Palace defense is much higher, right? The Fulham defense is basically the only ownership of. Have Leeds scored in all home games? I think they probably have. Let me get the Leeds results up. Leeds results. I wouldn't be surprised if they have, but like I imagine, I mean, Forest haven't scored in every game, but home to Liverpool, yes. Home to Chelsea, yes. Home to Villa, yes. Home to West Ham, yes. Home to Spurs, yes. Home to Bournemouth, yes. Home to Newcastle, no. Home to... They didn't score at home to Newcastle on the opening day of the season. And since then, they have scored in every single home game. But, like, they've only scored one in quite a lot of those. So, Richards could easily end up with a 4-pointer. But I suppose the ceiling is probably higher with Anderson. No, but Richards could easily keep a clean sheet. Palace are very good. Fully rested Palace. Fully rested Palace. I don't know. I feel like the sensible thing to do would be to play Richards over Anderson. Is Semenyo playing? I mean, he posted on Instagram this morning, so I would expect him to. So Boslai's been pictured back in training. Yeah. Rodgers just in for 1 week. I wouldn't be doing that. No, I don't think... I mean, he's scoring goals from 30 yards every week. They scored 3 versus Liverpool and Chelsea and 2 against Bournemouth. I mean, yeah, but there's lots there, right? Palace, the first team are rested midweek. Fulham have played midweek. Fulham played midweek. Palace fully rested midweek. Forest rested. So, no, we don't really get any early team news for Newcastle and Chelsea. I'd be surprised if we get any. Out of interest, who would you like? Because I think that the teams for both sides are pretty predictable, I think. The good... Sorry, I don't know what's happening today. The good thing about Enzo, if you're keeping hold of him, is they will often take Palmer off, right? Palmer will only play 60, 70, and after that, he will come off, and Enzo will go into the 10, I think. Would I start Szoboszlai over Anderson? Yes, I would, yeah. Thiago injury, I expect Thiago to be fine and to play, yeah. I don't know, but I'm keeping him. The other good thing is I might get to the evening and it hasn't made any difference if Thiago is out, right? If Thiago's out, then I don't really have a decision to make, which would be all right. That's not the end of the world. Mitoma or Welbeck? I wouldn't want either of them. If I had to pick one, I probably would chance Welbeck starting over Mitoma. probably would go Welbeck over Matoma. What do I think of Mount? Yeah, I wouldn't go Mount. I wouldn't be buying Mount, I don't think. I know he's 3 goals in a row now for him, but yeah, I wouldn't be buying him. Start Richards or Vandenberg. I'd play Vandenberg against Wolves, I think. Yeah. As always, if you see any team news or anything interesting on Twitter that you'd like me to see, please do tag me in it and I'll have a look. And if it's relevant, I will bring it up on stream to talk about as well. Stance on Hincape. I think he's fine. I do think that Gabriel will be back sooner than maybe we expected, and that will cause an issue for him. So I wouldn't buy Hincape new, but I'd buy Calafiori now. I'd buy Calafiori. If I was looking to buy an Arsenal defender, I would buy Hincape. You have Enzo and 0.8 in the bank. Who is the best replacement? I mean, the best replacement is finding more money to buy Cunha. Is probably the honest answer. If you can find a way to get more money to buy Matheus Cunha, then that's probably what I would do. If you don't, someone like a Rice, if not coming down to a Tavernier or a Harry Wilson, probably. I'm trying to work out what is causing this. It's because there's light coming from outside. I think I can... Sorry, it just bear with me while I'm rearranging my desk to try and turn everything so that I don't have that beam of light coming through. There was a question in the chat. Minter and Waltemada to Wilson and Bowen. I'm not 100% certain it's worth it this week. Ross, I hope you're doing well. Good morning to you. I hope you're having a very nice time at Centre Parks. Centre Parks, interesting fact. Yeah. I've never been to Centre Parks. Minter and Waltemada to Wilson and Bowen. Would I do that? I probably would. Yeah. Like, I don't love Bowen this week because of the City fixture, but apart from that, he's good. Morning, Ross. I hope you're doing well. Semenyo to Vifa / Pot and Guiu to Bowen. Not this week. Like, if you want to do that in 19, then I'm all for it. That might be my transfers in 19, but I wouldn't be doing Semenyo to Bowen this week. Who will I sell to buy Bowen? Semenyo, and then either Thiago or Guiu. If I buy Bowen, I'm going to buy Bowen or Ekatike, but I don't know which it's going to be yet. I don't know which it will be yet. Mint has good underlyings and has 3 great fixtures in the next 4. I think Minter is okay, but I think if you watch the games, there is a very different story on Minter versus maybe the underlying data will suggest. He's playing very wide and he's playing very deep. And it might change back, but I wouldn't be... Like, if you've got Minter and you want to keep him for the next 4 for the fixtures, I think that's fine. No one is going out and buying Minter, though. And I think that's probably enough of a reason to know... that, like, if no one at all is even considering buying the player you've got, it's enough. Like, no one is considering buying Elliot Anderson. Outside of that, okay, like, there's a few that are coming to the end of their fixture runs, and that's fine. But if you've got a player with good fixtures and no one's considering buying him, it doesn't bode well. Waltemada, yeah, I think with Vissa coming back over Christmas and the lack of sort of explosivity from him, I think he probably is a pretty easy... a pretty easy sell, I think, if you've got him. You've just described Saka. Yeah, but the benefit to Saka is he is their main talisman and he does have the ability to do better. But I do agree. And I said like 20, 30 minutes ago that I don't think Saka is worth the money. I don't think Saka is worth the money. Can you explain why you're so set on Bowen? You're not a fan. And I think that's absolutely fine. The data's not great. He doesn't play for a team that looked very good. But he plays 90 minutes over Christmas. The fixtures are fantastic. And he has an ability to do very well. Like, I think we all remember how good Bowen was for the last 10 weeks of last season. Now, it's different manager, different setup, different system. So it might not, be any sort of indication of what's to come for him. But he was very good, and he has the ability to be a very good FPL pick. And over Christmas, players who are going to play 90 every week are very beneficial. 25% of the goals in the Premier League are scored. 25% of the goals in the Premier League are scored after the 75th minute. So if you are buying a player who's not going to be on the pitch after the 75th minute, you are losing a 25% chance in them scoring. No, you're losing 25% of their chance of scoring. So if they've got a 50% chance of scoring, you're losing like 12.5%. So that drops, right? If they're not playing the end of the game. The very interesting fact about Centre Parks was nothing about Centre Parks, is the fact that I've never been to Centre Parks. That was it. And I would like to go. It looks great. It looks great. Thiago, injury update. We don't have anything. We don't have anything at the moment. Free hit thoughts. Petrovic, Timber, Calafiori, Yap, O'Reilly, Saka, Foden, Semenyo, Sharda, Haaland, Thiago, Evan Nielsen. Then Collins, Vandenberg, first sub. So if you've got Saka, Foden, Semenyo, Sharda. Saka. Yeah, that's fine. I like that. Yeah. I would. Yeah, I don't actually mind that. Yeah. I actually wonder if the best situation for people going with Thiago on free hit is to go Thiago free hit with Sharda first sub. Because if Thiago plays, Sharda's a fine pick, but Thiago will take pens. But if Thiago misses out, Sharda will likely play up front and he'll be on pens. So Sharda suddenly becomes a lot better. So there is part of it which is a strategy. If you're on free hit, to go Thiago and then go Kevin Sharda first sub, because if Thiago misses out, you then have the best replacement. Now, you could just go and start both, and then that's fine. But that's also something to consider. Welbeck, it has an ongoing back issue. I probably think he'll be in the squad. Whether he starts or not, we don't really know. That's basically all we've got. We don't really get much. This is also the reason, I think you might remember, I said a while ago, or you might not remember, one of the reasons I don't like buying Brighton players is they don't tell us about injuries. And it's taken us 3 weeks to find out that he has got this injury. It's taken us 2 benchings to find out that Welbeck has been carrying an injury. And that's why I don't want to own a Brighton player. And now we're sat in the situation where we don't know if he's going to play. Sharda is 7 million. It's a lot, right? But on free hit, you can take the gamble, right? Because I don't think many people will go Bruno on free hit away at Villa. So I think you'll go Foden, Semenyo. You might not also go Saka, right? I think you're only going to have one of Bruno or Saka. You're probably going to have Harry Wilson in there. So there's space in it. There's money for it. There's money for it if you want it on a free hit, I think, this week. Just those of you with chips left, general points are, I think triple captain is best this week. I think bench boost is best in 18, and then wildcard off free hit is best in 19. That is not an exact rule. It won't fit every team perfectly. Like, your team might be different depending on who you have, who you want a free hit in, who you want a wildcard out. But that's the general rule. If I had all the chips left, it would be triple captain this week, bench boost next week, and wildcard or free hit in 19. Am I planning on selling Saka in order to get Bowen and Cunha? I am wondering about selling Saka. Because Saka effectively gets you everyone that you want. It effectively gets you everyone that you want. So I could do... why am I doing it on my phone when I could do it up here for you? Well, that's not... let me get Plan FPL up and we can do it on there. We can do it on their planner. Right, so... if I take out Saka, Thiago, Mark Guiu, I haven't actually done this. I haven't actually done this to know if I have the money for it, but I'm presuming that I do if I sell Saka. Guiu to Bowen and Saka to... I think I also have to sell Semenyo. Hang on. To Cunha. 2.7 million, right? I have exact money for... And then him down to, like, Reefer, who's 4.9. No. I've got exact money for this. It would be 4 transfers, which I don't think is a particularly good use of 4 transfers. But anyway, let's put them in. So I've got exact money for Reefer in for Semenyo, Cunha in for Saka, and then Ekitike and Bowen in. I've got exact money for it. So that's something that I will consider. Yep, Saka to Cunha. I just am not certain. I've never been certain that Saka's been worth the money. And he's done quite well since I've bought him. But yeah, I'm not certain that he's worth the money. And if there's even a slight minutes risk over Christmas and he loses that, then yeah. Why is Mark Guiu in my 5th on my top forwards list? Because I don't think there's another forward I'd actually rather have over him. I'd rather play a 3-5-2 with Guiu. Is basically what I'm trying to say with that. Like, outside of Haaland, Ekitike, Bowen, Calvert-Lewin, if you're not buying one of them this week, you're probably not wanting... Like, I probably wouldn't buy any other forward this week outside of them. Is basically the point that I'm trying to prove with it. Effectively. Thank you all very much for joining. Good morning to you all. I hope you're doing well. If you haven't already, please drop a like on the stream and subscribe if you are new. As I said, we are 1,500 subscribers away from my 2025 goal of 8,000 subscribers, which still to this day feels absolutely crazy to say. But that is where we are, none the less. If you want to help me get there, please do subscribe. And if you want to help me get there, but you're already subscribed, then please just drop a like on the stream as well. Would I sell Saka to put money in defence and get rid of Van de Ven? You have Bruno Guimaraes and Foden and Szoboszlai, also Timber, Richards, Anderson, Mukiele. Sounds like you don't have Bruno Fernandes. Oh, Bruno Guimaraes and Fernandes. Yeah, listen, I don't think this is the week to sell Saka, because I don't think you need Bowen and Ekitike this week. But do I think that selling Saka is a good idea next week? Hello? I shouldn't be. Hello? Hello? Oh. Can't hear. It's not me. All good. You're audible. Fine. Fine. We're all good. Weird that loads of people said it at the same time. Well, did I go and then come back? Put one in the chat if I'm muted. Put one in the chat if I'm on mute. Oh, anyway. You went and then came back. Oh, good. It's too easy. Too easy. You say something like put one in the chat if you're muted, and then people put one in the chat, but I have to be unmuted for them in order to hear it. Anyway. Would I start Margay or Senesi? If you've held Senesi this long, I would start him. Nunes should be a differential. Yes, I like Nunes as a differential. I just prefer O'Reilly. His attacking data is better and he feels more nailed. Thoughts on Enzo Lafi, only 4.9, nailed, and on pens. I don't also mind him as a cheap option. Sunderland haven't really had any pens though. So, yeah. I don't mind him as a cheap option as well. They're all better than Elliot Anderson, basically, unless Elliot Anderson starts doing something this week. But what I think about Chalobah as a Chelsea fan, is he a good option to buy? He is. He's slightly more expensive than I'd want to play for him. Slightly more expensive than I'd want to pay for him. That is the only issue. Now, he's risen in price. He's risen in price quite a lot. Why not play Richards? I would like Richards. Right, hang on. I'm still really confused. Am I being trolled? Am I being trolled? I'm going to have to listen to my own stream to work out. Expensive than I'd want to pay for him. That is the issue. Now, he's risen in price. He's risen in price quite a lot. Why not play Richards? I would love to play Richards. Can't hear. It's not me. All good. You're audible. Fine. Fine. We're all good. Yeah, no, it's not me. It's not me. Cool. Why not play Richards over one of my defenders? Anderson versus Richards is really close. Right, let's get back to the stream. Yeah, Anderson versus Richards is really close. I don't quite know how I feel about it. Van Dijk, I'm definitely playing because... Sorry, yeah, listen to the mods. They're the ones to listen to. Yeah, I'm definitely playing Van Dijk. His goal threat is definitely high enough up. His goal threat is definitely good enough. It's Richards versus Anderson of Fulham is basically the only one. Would I get Cherky or O'Reilly? O'Reilly. O'Reilly is my favourite third City player. Yeah, triple captain Haaland. Triple captain is active. My final first half of the season chip being played today. Szoboszlai and Wilson or Semenyo and Anderson. Szoboszlai and Wilson. Szoboszlai and Wilson. But I don't think it's worth 2 transfers, right? And not this week anyway. Like, I might get money to upgrade Anderson next week when I sell some of those players or I sell Saka. I've just never been convinced that Saka's definitely been worth the money. And to be honest, when has Saka been worth the money since I bought him? Like, has he actually been worth the money? And you'll say, Harry, last week he scored 11. But I would have been better off not owning Saka last week because I would have captained Haaland and I would have got extra points from captaining Haaland. So I bought him here. He's been all right, but he's not... I'm just not sure he's worth the money. I wasn't certain he was worth the money. I'm still not certain he's worth the money. Is he worth the money? Don't know. I feel like that train has sailed a little bit. Any timeline update on Gabriel? Game week 20-ish. Game week 20. Saka to Palmer next week. I would not be buying Palmer over Christmas. No. Fiona, it's more about spreading the money. Like, it probably is Cunha, right? Going Cunha for the United fixtures from 18. So you go Cunha for Newcastle, Wolves, Leeds, Burnley. And then maybe you sell him in 22. So you go Cunha for that. And then you look to go maybe Chelsea from 22. So maybe you go Cunha to Neto or Cunha to Enzo in 22. I'm just not certain I want to use all of these transfers. Like next week, I'll be basically using 5 transfers. Yeah, the train has sailed. There seems to be the new... it seems to be the new saying after enough is enough. Seems to be the new saying after enough is enough. Bruno Guimaraes to Tavernier or roll. I'd probably roll. I think Bruno Guimaraes... Sorry, he's the other one. Right. Is Bruno Guimaraes. Is his fixtures from... you could go... it's actually a bit late. Doesn't work so well. Because you could go him instead of... I would rather Cunha though, I think. But, yeah. I might just have to take the price rise on Bowen tonight. I think I'll probably just have to... I mean, I don't know who else... I don't know if there's anyone else that I'm looking to buy potentially is going to rise tonight. Bruno, Bowen, Semenyo predicted to rise again. It doesn't impact me though. Mark Guiu, but I don't think that impacts my selling price. Yeah, I bought him at 4-2, so it doesn't impact it. Price fallers, Burn, sells, Alanga. So the only price change that actually impacts my team is Bowen. And if I miss one price rise... No audio and had lag. What is going on? What is going on? Yeah, I bought him at 4-2, so it doesn't impact it. Price fallers, Burn, sells, Alanga. So the only price change that actually impacts my team is Bowen. It's fine. No audio and had lag. What is going on? What is going on? It's actually fine. No, but I know like, it was just the FPL Vert said it, but so I'm only listening to the mods, but right, it's actually fine. I've listened to it back again. If it's not working, then restart your stream. It's lagged a couple of times. It's all good. It's all good. It must be a YouTube problem. I think it must be. It's not my end. It's not my end, and it's fine on my stream. Yeah, let me just say, just refresh the stream. If you actually... Oh, someone said it is actually a YouTube problem. Okay, cool. Bench Virgil van Dijk or Mark Gay, Senesi and O'Reilly, the others. I love to have Senesi and O'Reilly this week. Your team, that is very nice. I'd play Mark Gay. I think Gay has the ability to combine attacking threat with the clean sheet potential. I would play Mark Gay over Van Dijk. The reason I wouldn't play Richards over him is because there is no... the attacking threat isn't there for Richards versus Richards over Gay. Should I risk Lewis Potter in a free hit team? No, I personally wouldn't. No, personally I wouldn't. You had a mid 5 of Saka, Foden, Bruno, Szoboszlai and Rice. Were taken out Rice for Semenyo? No. I don't love the Semenyo 1 week in order to take him out again. Really. No. Richards... Gay and Anderson start 2. I'd bench Richards. I wouldn't double up on Palace. I wouldn't double up on the Palace defense if you've got other options this week. Yeah, Richards is fine. There is a good record for Leeds at home. So yeah. Do I start Semenyo or Thiago? I definitely start both. I'd start Semenyo over Thiago though. But I would start both. I'd want both in my team. Play Richard over Tavernier. I would play Tavernier definitely. Yeah, if you've got Tavernier. Home to Burnley. Tavernier is one of the... I'd rather buy Tavernier than Semenyo this week. Ekitike will be 9 million by the time they play Wolves. That is possible. He's not predicted to rise in price tonight though, unless he starts scoring against Spurs, in which case he probably would. Why not get Wilson in? I don't have the money for Anderson to Wilson. So in order to do it, I'd have to either make 2 transfers or I'd have to sell Foden, Semenyo, Bruno or Saka to do it. And I don't want to do either of those things, unfortunately, this week. Is Anderson to Wilson Tavernier worth it with 3 frees? If you've got the money, I'd do it, even if you've missed the price changes. And I probably would go Wilson, I think. I don't mind the Tavernier differential, though. He is on pens, we think, when he plays. Which he is doing at the moment. Bench boost with Thiago will take a hit to bring in someone again. So if you're on bench boost, if you've got a player flagged, what you do is you take that player out. If they score 0, do the other 3 players on your bench score you 10 points? If they do, then I would look to play your bench boost. If they're not going to score you 10, then I wouldn't. So it depends who else the bench players are. Looking at some of the fixtures with like Dubravka at Bournemouth, I'm not sure I would, but who to get for Ndai? Okay to do Mateta to Thiago. I wouldn't sell Mateta to... I wouldn't buy Thiago now. If you're buying a forward, I'd be looking at Bowen or I'd be looking at Ekitike now. Oh, you can't buy Thiago while he's flagged, unfortunately. I wouldn't buy Thiago while he's flagged. Who starts, Vifa or Jimenez? Jimenez, definitely. If you've got Jimenez, as much as he's not been great, I think you have to start him at home to Forest. Penalties, just being a striker as well. You've got Thiago and Dewsbury Hall. Rodon on if Thiago doesn't play. You've got Thiago and Dewsbury Hall. Rodon on. Okay to hold. Yeah, unless you've got money to upgrade Dewsbury Hall, but I wouldn't be selling Thiago this week, I don't think. So Bosley to Wilson if you can't afford Semenyo. I'd buy Wilson over Semenyo regardless, I think. I'd just buy the cheaper option. I'd buy Tavernier over Semenyo. I might even take Semenyo out of my top midfielders. He's not even in it. He's not even in it. Maybe I'll put Tavernier over... Yeah. I wouldn't be buying Semenyo, I don't think. Would I keep Szoboszlai or sell? I'd be keeping Szoboszlai if you've got him now. Yeah. He's been training, so we expect him to be back. Predict Chelsea's defence. Cucurella, Chalobah, Fofana, and Reece James. Maybe plus Gusto. Reece James in midfield. Senesi to O'Reilly or Roll. I wouldn't be selling Senesi. As much as O'Reilly is tempting this week, and he's a great pick, I wouldn't be taking out Senesi for him, I don't think. Do I not think Richards over Anderson? Yeah, it's really close. I think, to be honest, I think they both concede. So I don't think there's very much in it, to be honest. I don't think there's that much in it. I think Fulham have lost Calvin Bassey. I think they've lost Iwobi. Yeah, I mean, I haven't swapped it all week, but maybe I should. 53% are just captain Haaland. 40% are on triple captain this week. Interesting. I do think that Richards is probably better. But Jamie, 2 free transfers. You need a Pope replacement and Elliot Anderson, 2.6 million in the bank. I mean, Elliot Anderson to Wilson, Pope to Pickford or Pope to Sanchez probably. Elliot Anderson to Wilson and Pope to Pickford or Sanchez, I would say. Bench 2, O'Reilly, Senesi, Anderson, Timber, Gay. I mean, you're not benching O'Reilly, you're not benching Senesi, and you're not benching Timber. So Anderson definitely gets benched, and then it's probably Gay away at Leeds. Anderson to Wilson, 3 free transfers on the same plan as me. Yeah, if I had the money, I'd do Anderson to Wilson. Definitely. If I had the money, it would have been done earlier on in the week. Definitely. Why did I say to buy Chalobah last week? Kept a clean sheet, right? Didn't he get an 8-pointer last week? He did really well last week, no? And the upcoming fixtures are not as good, but long-term Chelsea defence is great. And everyone is looking at Chalobah now. I made some not so great recommendations, I'm sure, but I think Chalobah was one that was fine. You just don't want other people buying Semenyo. It's very obvious. If you want to buy Semenyo at home to Burnley, absolutely do it. I don't love buying players for 1 week in order to sell them next week. That is my concern with him. Yeah. And you'll want to probably sell him again next week. And if you're fine to do that, and if you've got lots of transfers, then that's okay. I also just think Tavernier is the same player, but cheaper, basically. Harry Wilson is offering very similar at a cheaper price. I just think there's better value players that are also not on 4 yellows, because if Semenyo gets booked, you're forced to deal with it, whereas you could end up keeping Wilson or Tavernier longer term. Brentford can't defend, so you might want Semenyo next week, but he might end up getting booked. Anderson of Forest to Cherki, no space for O'Reilly. I don't mind it. Again, if you've got money to upgrade Elliot Anderson to practically anyone, I'm probably going to say yes. Triple captain Foden. So this is my issue with it, is you're backing City to do well, and you're backing it to be Foden over Haaland. Now, I know it has happened in the past 2 home games where it has been Foden over Haaland, but I still don't like that as a gamble. A few questions. Can I please explain Bruno Guimaraes again? The stream lagged at the time. That is all good. So I like the fixtures coming up for Newcastle. I think he's better at home, but some of the away fixtures are good. Not sure he's worth the money, but he seems to be ticking along pretty well this season. So I've got no issue with Bruno G. I probably would look to keep him if you've got him. The others that we've got are, the Chelsea defence, people asking. I like the Chelsea defence. The issue we've got is Newcastle away this week isn't the best. And in a couple of weeks, it's City away. So 2 of the next 4 are not great. And in between that, they've got Villa, who are top 4, and they've got Bournemouth, right? So I think the next 4 are not great. That being said, I might buy Sanchez next week. He might be my Raya replacement. I'm tempted to do Raya to Sanchez and Anderson to Keane. So I get 1 Chelsea, I get 1 Everton. I'm tempted to do that. I'm tempted to do that. O'Reilly or Malik Chow or Roll? I'd sell Chow to O'Reilly. Everyone in your mini league has O'Reilly. You're currently number 1. Should I do Anderson to O'Reilly to secure? If it's a mini league play, but also it's a good play, I have no issue with Anderson of Fulham to O'Reilly. No issue with that. Paqueta is a differential next game week. I've been there with Paqueta so far this season already, and I will not be going back. His attacking returns are not good enough. I'd much rather find the money for Bowen. We've got 1 hour left. I will put it in. Oh, we've got 50 minutes left. I'm going to put it in. Oh, it's already in subscriber only mode. So if you haven't already, you need to subscribe now to start using the chat. And if you haven't liked the stream already, if you could do so, there are 5,000 of you in and watching who have not liked the stream already. If you could drop a like on the stream, that would be fantastic. Thank you very much for the support. And thank you very much for tuning in. Next time I stream, it will be after Christmas. It'll be Boxing Day with not much football, which isn't great. But is it necessary to have double up on Arsenal defence? And how important is it to get to Bruno? Bruno more important than double Arsenal defence now. Upcoming Arsenal fixtures are not as good. The other good defenders starting to become popular. Bruno more important, definitely. Bench 1 of Wilson, Rice and Bruno Guimaraes. It's not Wilson, Rice or Bruno G. I'd probably play Bruno G over Rice. Bruno G at home. So worried going into the weekend without Semenyo, but I'm worried going into this weekend without Ekitike. I'm worried about going in without O'Reilly. There's going to be players every week. That's the good thing about the game this season, is there are loads of players that you can't own them all. No, Sensi, where do I post your transfers as I make them? I don't always. Sometimes on Twitter, sometimes on Instagram. It depends when I make them. Depends. Yeah. I often make my transfers very late at night anyway. Worried going in without Bruno. I don't think this week's too bad. Away at Villa, home to Newcastle in the next 2. I don't think it's the worst if you're going without Bruno. I would want him, and I'm very happy that I've got him, but I also don't expect very much from him this week. I don't think it's a good fixture for him, and plus we're expected to see what Man United look like without Mbeumo and without Ahmad. They're not going to be as good as they have been. Yeah. Bench Kanate or Anderson. I'd play probably Anderson over Konate. His goal threat's not as high as Van Dijk. It's Bosley playing. He's back in training, so I have no reason to think he won't start away at Spurs, but I don't know. What's the best free hit punt? Tavernier's probably up there. I like him. Harry Wilson, of course. Yeah, probably Tavernier. HFPL. Let me take a look. I do apologise. You've got Virgil van Dijk, Malik Chow, Hincape, Richards and Alderete with 3 free transfers. You can do Chow or Hincape to O'Reilly or wait 1 week. If you do Hincape, you can. Then I'd do Hincape because Hincape is going to be an issue. So if you can do Hincape to O'Reilly this week and do Semenyo to Cunha next week, I would probably do that. Because Hincape is going to be an issue at some point anyway, whereas Chow isn't. Start Van Dijk or Vandenberg. Probably Vandenberg. Yeah, probably Vandenberg away at Wolves. Bench 1 out of Van Dijk and Minter. Some really interesting benching decisions there this week. Minter or Van Dijk. I mean, I'd probably be inclined just to play Minter at home to Sunderland, but I probably expect Spurs to score, but probably Minter. Triple captain Harry Wilson. I wouldn't be doing that. No. I mean, if you want a triple captain Monday night, then great. Because I can't even watch my triple captain in the UK because, City are not on the TV in the UK. But yeah, I wouldn't be triple captain. If you want a triple captain someone that's not Haaland, I'd look at Ekatike next week, or I'd look at Bruno in a couple of weeks. Is Bruno Guimaraes to Kevin Schade a good move this week and going forward? I don't know how much I love the Kevin Schade pick. I'm not sure he's explosive enough, and the attacking returns are not as good as I thought they'd be. And without Dango Ouattara, I do think they get worse without that outlet. I don't mind him as a punt, but I think there are probably better picks. Cherky could be a great punt. Yeah, if you've got the money for it and you've got the space, yes. Yeah. Start Richards or Welbeck. I'd probably take the punt on Welbeck. Bench 1 of Bruno, Trossard, Ekatike, Thiago, Wilson, Tavernier. Bruno, Trossard, Ekatike, Thiago, Wilson, Tavernier. Probably Trossard. What's the better combo? Good morning, Duncan. Raya and Chalobah or Sanchez and Calafiori. Raya Chalobah, probably not. Probably Sanchez Calafiori. You have Minter. Should I transfer in Wilson for 2 free transfers? You have Minter. Should I transfer in Wilson? Minter to Wilson, I would probably do, yeah. Yeah. Best Enzo and Dewsbury Hall replacement. You've got 2 frees. Enzo and Dewsbury Hall, and you've got no money. I mean, you could do Enzo and Dewsbury Hall to Tavernier and Wilson. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Thank you for 1,000 likes as well. Just hit it. 1,004. This bit of green is back. I think it's because there's a window behind my green screen, which the light is shining through. And there's nothing I can do about it. So we'll just have to deal with that. Off I go. How is Sunderland? Sunderland will be massively impacted by AFCON. Yeah, that needs to be an impact. So that's probably why I would play someone like a Minter. Yeah, they lose more players than everyone. Yeah, so that is something on Sunderland. Probably good for Brighton this week and good for those playing Sunderland over the next couple of games. Will Pope play? Probably not, but I don't know. The only thing on Newcastle, team news-wise, is we sometimes get videos of the players arriving at the stadium. That's the only thing. That's the only thing. Oh, I just saw Crystal Palace. Brennan Johnson might be going to Palace. Yeah, we sometimes see a video of the Newcastle players arriving at the squad. At the stadium. The Newcastle squad arriving at the stadium. So if there was a video of Pope arriving, then that would be positive. But we might not even get that before deadline. I am rolling, yeah. As much as I wish I could upgrade Anderson this week, I'm just going to give him another week. Hopefully he hits DEFCON. Maybe he gets an attack and return. Unlikely, but I am going to start him. I mean, I could just bench him and play a back four, but I think Forest score, so I would rather have Anderson over other Anderson. I feel like I've said their names too many times this week. Yeah, I feel like I have. Sell Voltemada or Thiago. Voltemada first. Thanks for the great content this year. Happy Christmas. Thank you very much, Triswood. I appreciate that. What do I think about Alex Jimenez from Bournemouth? Again, very short term. Wouldn't be going for him long term. Heaven is a good enabler. Minutes are definitely not secure enough. So no, definitely not. Start Goodmanson or Malik Chow. I'd probably play Chow. Would I transfer Thiago out for Bowen tonight if he doesn't play? If Thiago doesn't play today, does that make me more inclined to sell him? Probably not. But it might be that I look to do the Saka, Ekatike, Bowen combination and go Cunha. Yeah. Would I start Szoboszlai over Rice? Yes. Yeah. Merry Christmas to you, Scott. I hope you have a good one. Thank you. I appreciate it. All the kind words. Tavernier for a punt for Elliot Anderson. Yes, Tavernier I like. Good punt. Like it. João Pedro and Stack to Semenyo and Krupi. I mean, I would want João Pedro out, but I think next week you'll want to reverse that and go to like Bowen or Ekatike. So I would actually say no, it's not worth 2 transfers, and I would keep João Pedro because the options for him next week are much better. Malik Chow or Lacroix, I'd play Lacroix. His attacking threats, good fixture, yeah. Best goalkeeper for this game week is probably Donnarumma, home to West Ham. Play Anderson, Rodon, or Xhaka. I'd probably play Anderson over them. Richards versus Anderson. What do we think? We've got Richards in, but I actually haven't clicked confirm yet. I don't think. Start Calvert-Lewin. No, I haven't. Start Calvert-Lewin or Thiago. Thiago over Calvert-Lewin. Yeah. Richards. Anderson. Anderson Derby, I know. You said Anderson versus Anderson Monday night. What changed? The change is the fact that I think Richards is probably a better pick than Anderson. That's probably what's changed. Rodon or Tarkowski. Probably chance it on Rodon, I think, with the lack of goals that Palace is scoring. But Palace have had Palace have had a week off, which you don't get very often. Yeah, the Palace full week off is a definite boost to them. Chalobah over Anderson. I'd probably play Anderson over Chalobah. I'd play 4-4-2 instead and bench Elliot Anderson. I'm not going to do that because I think Forest score. And if I think Forest score, then I think Anderson of Forest is a better pick than Anderson of Fulham. And I think Forest score. Without Iwobi, without Bassi, I think Fulham get worse. That's 2 pretty important players to them at the spine of their team. Forest with Murillo back, Sells back, Gibbs White. They're basically got everyone back apart from a striker. And even then, they've got, Igor Jesus, who's been playing there pretty much all of the season. So that team must be stone cold. Oh, it absolutely is. Yeah, it's absolutely stone cold. Yeah. But I'm still going to drink it anyway. I don't have my nice heated cup. that I normally have when I'm at home, unfortunately. Van Heck or Richards? Van Heck. Bench Rodon or Chaël? I'd bench probably Chaël. I'd probably play Rodon over Chaël, I think. Start one of Jimenez, Chalobah, Jimenez. One free transfer, Semenyo or Rice. Semenyo's better this week. Rice is probably better long term. Can I see the benching ranking? Yes, up on screen now in the top right-hand corner. Yep. That defender spot. Richards or Anderson? It's tough. I mean, there's unlikely to be much in it, but Anderson or Forest or Richards? Probably Anderson or Forest. Richards or Malik Chow? Probably Richards. But I'm a Chelsea fan, right? So maybe slightly biased that I think we probably score. Richards is better by miles. I mean, I don't think there's that much in it, right? Long term, is Keane or Richards better? Long term, Richards has to be because Branthwaite isn't that far away from being back. But yeah. Yeah. Start Szoboszlai or Anderson? I'd start, if you've got Szoboszlai, he's back in training at the end of last week, so I would look to start him. Alderete or Rodon? Rodon over the Sunderland defenders. Yeah. Nico O'Reilly or Guardiola? I'd buy O'Reilly. Yeah, I mean, it's a fully rested Palace team. It's fully rested Palace. Like, surely it's got to be Richards. Leeds put a lot of crosses in. There's Defcon there. Richards just doesn't... He's never going to score. Am I not tempted to bring in O'Reilly? Yes. I would love O'Reilly. I would love to do Anderson to O'Reilly and Anderson to Wilson. But in order to free up that money, I need like 2 million to do those two transfers. And I don't have anywhere to free that up this week. So unfortunately, Palace played Thursday, but they've made 11 changes. It's the first time they've ever done it in a midweek game, basically, this season. So this is as rested as Palace are ever going to be. This is as rested as Palace are ever going to be. Any recommendations for game week 18 midfielder under 5.5 and game week 19 forward under 7.5? I'd probably go Rifa and then Bowen. Probably go Rifa at 4.9 and then Bowen, who will probably be more than 7.5. But if you go Rifa, you can then afford Bowen. Bench Raul Jimenez for Anderson. I'd play Jimenez. As much as Jimenez has been disappointing if you own him, yeah, I would still be playing him this week. Gay came on like 60th minute, so... Oh no, Margay will play. It'll be the full strength team. He literally mentioned it in his press conference that Leeds know the team. He literally said it. There is a small part of me that hopes that Thiago misses out. Because if Thiago misses out, then I just get both of them, and then it's not really a decision. Sell Szoboszlai or for Cherky for a 1 week punt. I wouldn't do that because you probably want Szoboszlai next week. Lots of questions in the chat about Szoboszlai actually. If you've got him, I would be keeping him. If Palace is so well rested, then why are we all backing against Palace getting a clean sheet against Leeds so much? I mean, Leeds have scored in every home game so far this season apart from game week 1. Keep Guiu for bench boost 18 or transfer out, better option. I mean, if you're going to bench boost 18, if you've got money to sell him, then I would. But I wouldn't be selling him just for the bench boost. But yeah. Enzo to Wilson or Cherky. I'd rather Wilson. I think he's better, a safer long-term pick, to be honest. Triple captain Haaland, game week 17 or Bruno, game week 19. Haaland this week. I mean, that's my plan, right? I think Haaland this week is probably the best. I like Bruno at home to Wolves in 19. But yeah, Haaland for me. Leeds scored in game week 1. Did they not have Newcastle at home in game week 1? Or was that not game week 1? Was that game week 2 or something? They failed to score at home to Newcastle. They failed to score at home to Newcastle. Where are we? In game week 1, they scored at home. Yeah, game week 3, they failed to score at home to Newcastle. Game week 3. I think I'll probably end up playing Richards. I think that's probably the sensible thing. I think it's probably the sensible play. Van Dijk or Anderson to start. I'd play Van Dijk. I think Van Dijk's goal threat against Spurs, who have struggled a bit from it, is definitely the play. Do I plan to bring in Ekatike? Potentially next week. Potentially. I'd probably have to sell Saka to do it, though. That's the only thing. Saka would probably have to go. On a free hit, would I start Thiago or go Raul Jimenez? I'd go Thiago and have a good first sub. I don't think I'd own Jimenez on free hit. I know what to do about the Anderson face-off factor on Monday night. I know there is that added element to it as well. There is that element to it. I just think Richards is probably a better pick. But then Leeds are in a good moment, right? But then Palace have had a full week off. But then Palace are without Sarr and Munoz. And Kamada. I'm finding it quite difficult. I am finding that quite difficult. Jimenez or Elliot Anderson, I'd play Jimenez. Bruno Guimaraes to Cherky. Probably not. I probably would just look to hold Bruno G, I think. The upcoming fixtures are good enough. He's at home this week. I'm not like... It's not one of those that I'd say, if you're buying Cherky or you're selling someone okay for Cherky or selling Bruno G, I don't feel particularly one way or another about it. Like, I don't think it's a bad transfer because I think Cherky is probably more explosive and more exciting. But I think I'd rather Bruno G long term because I trust his minutes over a very busy Christmas period. If it was games once a week, every week, and that was it, I would go Cherky over Bruno. But I think over this busy period, I probably would go Bruno G over Cherky just because you know what you're going to get in terms of minutes, whereas I don't think we know that about Cherky. And as soon as he puts in one bad performance, Pep has already had a slight go at him that he does good things, but he also does bad things as well. So, yeah. Is Eze a keep or sell this week? If yes, to who? I mean, Cunha is probably the best replacement. Cunha's only 0.2 more million than Eze, so if you've got the money for it, you could go this week. I don't think there's much in it this week. But yeah, that's probably where I'm at. Start Reinders or Welbeck? Probably Welbeck. Part of me would say if you've got Reinders and you've held Reinders this long, you should probably start him. And Welbeck hasn't been starting. It's two players you just don't know who they're going to start. I would say they've got a pretty similar start percentage to each other. And if I was going to start one of them, if they both started, who would I rather? Probably Welbeck. So I would probably go Welbeck. Surely Foden and Cherky resting as they played midweek. Yeah, I'd be surprised. I mean, the first thing to say is Foden didn't start the game. He came on and then got subbed off again. So they were obviously managing his minutes, and the obvious thing was for him not to play that game so that he gets a bit of a rest. So he was obviously planned to play this weekend. Cherky did play, but he got subbed off after 65 minutes. Again, decent rest. And City players are more than capable of playing twice a week. Just because a player plays midweek doesn't mean they can't play again at the weekend. I do wonder about Rodon, that maybe we should be giving him more consideration. Because Palace have not been that free-flowing in attack. Yeah. That game could easily finish 0-0. Easily, I think. Bruno for Saka and Enzo for Semenyo. Bruno for Saka and Enzo for Semenyo. Do you mean the other way? Bruno out for Saka and Enzo out for Semenyo? Or Saka, even if it's the other way around, Saka out for Bruno and Semenyo out for Enzo. I wouldn't be selling Bruno, I wouldn't be selling Saka, and I wouldn't be selling Semenyo. So no, is the answer. I don't know which way round they're meant to be, but either way, I wouldn't do Bruno and Enzo to Saka and Semenyo, and I also wouldn't do it the other way around. Welbeck and Eze, you've got 1 million in the bank replacements. Welbeck to Bowen and Eze to Cunha potentially. You might need to free up a tiny bit more money, but they're the obvious ones. What's my take on triple captain Haaland versus triple captain Bruno? Bruno in game week 19 is the second best triple captaincy option left. Yeah. So if you want to go against Haaland, Bruno in 19 is the best. I do find it interesting that it took a couple of weeks of big returns and now suddenly people even want to triple captain Bruno. But yeah, Haaland's still the best goal scorer in the league for me. So I'm triple captain Haaland. I do like triple captaining a midfielder. Plus with DEFCON, you're going to get, potential for more routes to points. If he does score, he's great for bonus. I completely get the Bruno triple captain in 19. But I'm going to go Haaland today, I think. Which two would I pick from Dalot, Richards and Anderson? Richards and Anderson. I benched Dalot away at Villa this week. Dalot's actually quite a nice pick going forward. I think he could be an interesting one if you need a cheap defender, particularly while Ahmad's at AFCON. The issue is, again, you don't really want to be using loads of transfers on cheap defenders. And when Ahmad comes back, you might want to sell him again. You might want to be selling him again. Caicedo versus Hincapié. It's been a few weeks since I've had to answer the Caicedo questions. He is back from suspension for Chelsea today. So back in the team, back in the DEFCON. Him versus Hincapié, though, I'd play Hincapié. I have actually considered doing Anderson to Caicedo, and then I thought that is just not worth it. That is very sideways. So I might end up playing a back four next week as well. That's the other thing. Van Dijk looks good. Timber's fine. Raya's fine. Richards is fine. And Anderson I might sell. Start Chaël in a 4-4-2 or Reinders in a 3-5-2. I'd play Reinders. I'd take the chance on Reinders over Chaël, I think. Forest receive goals from corners, play Anderson. Yeah, I mean, Anderson's playing. Anderson or Forest is not playing. Especially with Murillo back. They're better from corners. Anderson doesn't take them all. That's the only thing. Especially if Hutchinson plays, which is a bit annoying. But I've just got to play him. It's just Richards versus Fulham Anderson. Szoboszlai for who? I'd just keep Szoboszlai. I wouldn't be selling Szoboszlai if you've only got 6.7. Yeah, I'd keep Szoboszlai. Start Caicedo or Welbeck. I'd probably play. I probably would play Welbeck, but if you're worried about his minutes, then just take the Caicedo probable 4-pointer today. No Mateta. No, I'm very happy not to have Mateta. He may well score today, and that's fine. But seeing him get taken off after 60 minutes when you don't own him, I have to say, when I saw that notification last weekend that he'd been taken off after 60 minutes and I didn't own him, it was such a sweet moment. I was like, it's so nice to see that sub and it not be in your FPL team. It felt good. It felt good. Should you bench Rodgers or Thiago? I'd bench I'd probably play Thiago over Rodgers. And if Thiago doesn't feature, then you get if Rodgers doesn't feature, then if Thiago doesn't feature, then you get Rodgers. Let me see if you've tagged me in anything. Nope. Nope. Music, thank you very much for joining. Music Shane Collins as a base tier member. Welcome. Train is sailing. Yeah, 20 minutes until the deadline. Where's my hat gone? I wore it in like one video. I don't know. I don't know where it is. I don't know if I've even got it for Christmas. I think I left it at home. Or maybe I'll bring the hats back. Maybe. Bruno Guimaraes to Wilson or Roll. Bruno Guimaraes to Wilson. I don't mind that transfer again. Do I think you need to sell Bruno G this week? Not really. But do I prefer Wilson? Yeah, probably. Why Richards over Anderson? But when I have it the other way around, people ask me the other question. I haven't actually saved it with Richards in yet. Richards or Anderson? I think Forest score. But I think Leeds score. I think Richards gets DEFCON. And I think Anderson gets DEFCON. So now what? What do we do now? Cunha or Rodgers long term? If I had to hold one between now and the end of the season, I would say Rodgers. But for the medium term, Cunha is definitely Cunha, I'd say. Pope start, we don't know. No news on that yet. And no video of them arriving at the stadium either at the moment. So nothing yet on Newcastle. Then it's a question of, do I go with or against Marguerite's ownership? That is the thing. Yeah. That's the thing. I probably wouldn't be buying a Brentford defender now that the fixture is gone. The home fixture last week to Leeds. Because they're not as good over the short term now defensively. Play Szoboszlai or Anderson in defence? Definitely Szoboszlai. If I had to play 3 out of the following defenders, who would I play? This is quite common. So Senesi, Timber, Marguerite and Konate, definitely bench Konate. I think there's nothing wrong with benching your Liverpool defender this week. Bench Rice or Bruno Guimaraes? I probably would bench Rice, but there's not much in it. Van Dijk over Richards, and should you cap Haaland elsewhere since you're not triple captain? I would still captain Haaland. If you're not on triple captain and you don't, if you're not on triple captain, you will probably want him to blank because his ownership will be very high. But I would still captain him. And would I do Van Dijk over Richards? I would. Yeah, I would take the goal threat from Van Dijk. Minter or Wilson on free hit? Wilson would definitely be in. Brighton probably wouldn't make my free hit. I thought about putting Welbeck in, but then I saw the injury updates and I would have taken him out. Yeah. Reefer, honest opinion, I think he's fine at 4.9. I don't think he's going to set the world alight. I think he's very similar to Anderson. He probably has better DEFCON potential than Anderson, and the attacking threat is maybe slightly better from open play, so he's probably slightly better than Anderson. Kieran, Wilson over Minter. Why don't I buy O'Reilly? I don't have any money in the bank, so unless I sell Van Dijk or Timber, I unfortunately can't. I would absolutely love to buy O'Reilly this week. I think he's a great option. Who are the best replacements for Dewsbury Hall? Wilson, Tavernier if you've got the money. If not, Reefer at Brighton. Should I buy Bowen before the price rise today? I'm going to consider it. But I think I want to see United tomorrow and how the likes of Cunha get on. I'm not against making the transfer tonight, but one of the things that I could end up doing is doing Saka to Cunha, and I might want to know how Cunha gets on tomorrow before I make a jump like that. So I'm not certain I'm going to go tonight. I might let the Bowen price rise go. Would I upgrade Szoboszlai to Semenyo or just leave Szoboszlai? I'd be keeping Szoboszlai. Lots of you with Szoboszlai looking to sell him. I'd probably look to keep him and just hope he doesn't get booked if he does play and plays Wolves at home next week. Wildcard 17. You're going Ekitike, not Saka. Yep, I think that's fine. Rice or Schade? Probably Rice. Verbruggen and Sanchez ready for 21-22 plus 0.4 or Ryan Verbruggen. I'd go Sanchez. Verbruggen. Yeah. They rotate really well. I know it's something Praz looked at when he was going to wildcard, then he almost went there, and I bet he wish he did now. Bench Malik Chaël or Joachim Anderson. Thank you. I'd probably play Anderson over him, but I am a biased Chelsea fan, so please take that with a little pinch of salt. Is Cherky worth a hit? No, I wouldn't take a hit for him. Virgil van Dijk or Vandenberg? Van Dijk or Vandenberg? Probably Vandenberg, given the fixture, but yeah, probably Vandenberg. Who have I got higher up in my ranking? Because Vandenberg's not in my ranking. I'm pretty sure I had Vandenberg higher in the main one. Pretty sure. Let me see if there's anything knocking around on Twitter. Nothing. I'm going to ask my group chats. Richards or Anderson? Right. How about Eze? His minutes are all over the place. I wouldn't be buying Eze. I'd probably be looking to sell him. Harry doesn't let his Chelsea bias dictate his FPL. I don't really, normally. But when it's close, like, do I want Malik Chaël or Anderson? I probably would still play Anderson because Chow's been all right, but away from at home they've been pretty good though. I still think I'd play Anderson over Chaël. Enzo to who? You've got 0.5 in the bank. I mean, if you can go to Rice, if not come down to Tavernier or Wilson. Sell Szoboszlai for Wilson. I wouldn't sell Szoboszlai. No, I'd keep Szoboszlai. As much as Wilson is a good buy, unless you're using the money for something, I'd probably just hold on to him. Do we think Dekupia starts? Probably, but not guaranteed. Not guaranteed. It's a good fixture for him, though. If I've got nothing else, I probably would start him, yeah. Eze to Foden, -4. Yeah, if you've got the money for it, I would do that, yeah. Sell Dewsbury Hall for -4 for a Dekupia or use Dekupia. I'd probably play Dekupia and just not take the hit. Ignoring this week's fixtures, best midfield differential. Ooh, good question. Ignoring this week's fixtures. I mean, Cunha, but I don't know how long he'll be a differential for. Yeah, Bruno Guimaraes, potentially. Right, let's do a little bit of a roundup with lots of the things that are being asked in the chat. First of all, Szoboszlai, I wouldn't sell him. I would probably look to keep him and start him unless you need the money for something else. Bruno Guimaraes, similar. I would look to keep him and I'd probably look to start him. Would I rather Harry Wilson? Potentially, but I'm not really sure it's worth a transfer. Semenyo, I'm not certain how much I love him for a 1 week punt. I think I'd rather buy Harry Wilson or I'd rather buy Tavernier as a cheaper 1 week punt than Semenyo. Do I like having Anderson or Forest in my team? Not particularly. Would I rather one of the others? Yes, but I don't have the money. Thiago of Brentford, we don't have an update on him. I would look to keep him and I'd look to start him. If he plays, it's still a great game for him. And if he doesn't, then we might be looking to sell him next week. But we don't have an update. Newcastle, Chelsea teams, we don't have anything on, no videos of anyone arriving at the stadium or anything yet. No real update there. Benching rankings for defenders. Arsenal, I would definitely start. City, I would definitely start. Bournemouth, I would definitely start. Outside of that, Van Dijk, I would certainly start over some of the others. Richards versus Anderson is the debate that I've got. I still technically have Anderson in my team for now, but I think Richards is probably the sensible play. I think Richards is... who's more likely to keep a clean sheet in my eyes? I know Leeds have scored at home, but... yeah, I think I should probably play Richards. I think I should probably play Richards, shouldn't I? Why Van Dijk over Anderson? Van Dijk's attacking threat is definitely better, and I just don't think I should play them against each other. We'll play Fancy Challenge in a moment. So that's where we're at. Paul, let me take a look. I do apologise. Thoughts on Richards to O'Reilly? I'm not sure I actually would do that because I think Richards remains a really good long-term hold, but I prefer O'Reilly to him at the moment. Why Anderson over Anderson? Because I think Forest score, and I'm just going to take the gamble that Forest score. And if Forest score, I know Anderson could get DEFCON and Anderson couldn't, but I think I'm just going to back one team and I'm going to go and not play one against the other. I think is probably the most sensible way to do it. Plus the Gay ownership is scary. I mean, they're gonna concede and then he's gonna score, but a Gladius, of course. Let me take a look. Start one of Mateta or Van Heck. I'd play Mateta if you've held him this long. Given the rest midweek. Matuata. Let me look at yours. You've got 5 free transfers, 4.2 in the bank, and triple captain and bench boost to play. Thoughts on Timber Stack and Krupi to Calafiori, Wilson, Ekatike? Yes, love them. Love from New Zealand. Yes, definitely like those. Thoughts on Everton, Liverpool defence over Arsenal? Not this week. Potentially next week, but not this week, no. Bench one of Elliot Anderson, Wilson, or Raul Jimenez. Elliot Anderson, definitely. Why not transfer Van Dijk to O'Reilly? Because next week, when Van Dijk has Wolves at home and then Leeds at home and then Fulham away and Burnley at home in the next 4 or next 5, like Van Dijk, Wolves at home, Leeds at home, Burnley at home in 3 of the next 5 after Spurs. It could do it. It could give me money. Could O'Reilly be worth it? Yeah, potentially, but I'm going to keep Van Dijk for those, I think. Rice over Voltamada, probably yes. Yeah. Hold on to Pope. I probably would. Yeah. Probably would. I probably would now. Because the best replacements for Pope are Sanchez and Pickford, and they both have rubbish games this week, and we might see Pope come back. Pope will likely be back by game week 28. 28? Game week 18. So I would probably hold Pope now. Can you captain Foden to catch up in your mini league? So captaining Foden only helps you catch up if he does well. I still think I'd captain Haaland personally, but good morning. You're thinking of taking Voltamada and Enzo out and bringing in Ekatike and Tavernier. I like them. FMS, I quite like those transfers. Timber's numbers have been poor. FPL recommend him to replace it with O'Reilly. I still like Timber. He's going to go back to right back now with the Ben White injury. Listen, I'm not sure he's worth the money. I might sell him to Calafiori or something in the next couple of weeks, but I don't think it's a priority move out for me. Raya, Dubravka, O'Reilly, Virgil van Dijk, Anderson, Timber, Stev, Semenyo. 3 free transfers and bench. So, I mean, you're benching a Stev, benching Guiu, and you're probably benching Anderson and Dubravka. The team looks pretty good. Truffer and Cherky or O'Reilly and Tav. I'd go O'Reilly and Tav. Yeah. -4 to bring in Semenyo for Voltemada. Probably not. Because I also think Voltemada to Bowen, Voltemada to Ekatike is the transfer you'll want to do next week. So if you're doing a -4 to do Voltemada to Semenyo, it's then a -4 to go from Semenyo to one of the other forwards next week. So I don't think it's worth a -8, effectively. Bench one of Raul Jimenez, Anderson, or Konate. Probably Konate. Definitely not Jimenez. Pickford over Dubravka, yes. Yeah, I'd play Pickford. Hope he makes some saves. Is triple captain necessary? If you've still got it left, I would probably look into play it this week. The other option is game week 19. T. Jala, bench boost with Dubravka, Anderson, Giu, and Tarkowski. Probably not. I'll probably play it next week instead if it looks any better. Tarkowski's got a better fixture. Dubravka's got a better fixture. Anderson is equal. I don't know. I'm suddenly having doubts. I checked the group chat and they're all saying I should play Anderson. Anderson or Richards. Oh, do I just stick with it? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Pickle saying Richards is easy. All this, and then Thiago won't play, and then it won't matter. Fulham concedes. I'm going to play Richards. I think it just makes sense because I've got Anderson in midfield. I just think it makes sense to only go with one of them. As much as I want the Anderson derby on Monday night, I'm still going to be there for it. But I think my gut feel is Richards. But I want to play Anderson because he plays the other Anderson, and it's Monday night. But Leeds have been good at home. No way. The thing is, no way. Someone pass the deadline, please, please. Flip a coin. Oh, I don't like these. And it's a 50-50 decision that's probably going to mean nothing, and they'll both score 3 points or something. Fulham home much stronger. I know, but they've lost a few players. Right, let's do some questions. We've got 45 seconds. I'm not changing it. I'm going Anderson. Play both and bench the other one. Richards 2 assists. Yeah, I mean, we'll be here for it. I'm leaving it. I'm leaving it. I'm leaving it. I'm leaving it. Right, we're into the final minute before the deadline. I am going to play Anderson over Richards, and I'm going to hope that Leeds turn up this evening. Let's hope, shall we? That is going to be my team. Triple captain is active on Erling Haaland. The vice captain is on Semenyo in case, for whatever reason, the game was to get called off. If you are going to head off, please do drop a like and subscribe before you go. We're going to stick around for a little bit after this stream. We're going to do a bit of future planning. We're going to look at my transfers that I might make today. And yeah, we're going to do lots of chat. We'll do fantasy challenge. We'll do all the usual stuff at the end of the stream. So stick around. But if you are going to head off, please like the stream, subscribe if you are new. We are closing in on 220,000, which is the aim for the end of the year. Please go and check your teams, check your triple captain, check that everything is as it should be, everywhere it should be. And thank you all very much for joining. If you have tuned in to this last minute, I've gone with Anderson. Do I think it's the right decision? No. Do I think it's the wrong decision? No. Do I not know? Basically. Let's just hope Thiago doesn't play and then it doesn't mean anything. Yeah, game week. What game week are we in? Game week 17 team. That is going to be the deadline. I'm pretty sure it will have updated now. Let me just refresh it on a different tab. Yes, the game is updated or updating. Let me just tweet my team and then I'll be right with you. Rolling to 5 transfers. One second. One moment. Cool. Hopefully Haaland scores. I agree. Right, so should we do fantasy challenge first? I actually have already picked it. Sorry, you're going to have to bear with me one moment while I find something for you. Oh, it's going to make me sign in. Hang on, right. 1 second. I just want the Premier League. What's going on? Sorry, bear with me. Literally 2 minutes, or not even that. Here we go. Not only are we doing Fantasy Challenge, I was actually on the Fantasy Show yesterday. And I had... Oh, where's the video? Oh, no. Can't even see me picking my lovely Fantasy Challenge team. Oh, well. You're number 1 in my challenge league. If you're not in my fantasy challenge league, the code will be up above in just a moment. Let me turn the slow-mo down for you all because you don't need it on that slow, do you? But you can see it there. FPL, that was me picking my challenge team. Anyway, let's pick it again. Manage team. So it's home teams score double points, right? But I might put Richards in there. That's how this game works. For anyone who's not seen me pick my fantasy challenge team before, I pick the players who are going to impact my rank the most if they do well. So Richards has to start. Wilson is, of course, in. I have gone Haaland, but I might captain Harry Wilson. Chelsea lineup. Oh, yeah, Thiago. Oh, no, I've got Thiago. No, I could pick Mark Gay, but I'm going to start... Lewis Hall is there for Newcastle. Johan Visser is there. Yeah, that's what I've gone with. I've gone Bruno G because he's playing Chelsea. I've gone Rodgers. I've got no Bournemouth, actually. Yeah, Tavernier. Or maybe... Oh, I do. I've got... what's his name in goal? I don't mind what position it is. Who else could we pick? Who is people going with? Does this FPL challenge add points? No, it's like a separate game mode, effectively. Effectively, a separate game mode. Who else could I have? Semenya. I've already got Bournemouth. I've already got Newcastle. I've already got Fulham. I've already got City. Rodgers. But it's home. Players at home score twice. So Rodgers is probably the obvious one. Oh, I could go Minter. Now that I'm not going... Yeah, let's do that. Let's go Minter. Because there's a bit of ownership on Minter. For anyone who's new, I tend to pick the players that will impact my rank the most if they do well. I could go Cherky. I've already got Haaland, though. I could just not go Haaland and go... Like, maybe I go O'Reilly. Maybe I don't go Haaland. Hang on. 2-2-1. Oh, no. Yeah, hang on. 2-2-1. Take out Bruno. Go and put O'Reilly in here. After they fix the apostrophe in O'Reilly's name. Isn't that exciting? Transfer out. I've got to pick. I'll pick. Boom, 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 boom. Voltamada's in the room. Did I do the 6 or 7 pointer for Haaland on my video on purpose? No, I didn't. And if you notice, I then, in my video, in my complete guide video on Friday, I then said, if you want to change your free hit, you need to change at least, you don't need to change 6, 7, or 8 or 9 players. Because I said it again, and then I basically forced myself to just say more numbers. Someone's saying the Chelsea team's already out, but I don't see it. I don't see it. If anyone sees it on Twitter... I don't see it. I wouldn't. Right. Anything else we want to talk about? How's everyone doing in the chat? Always was confused on what is the bench ranking means. Who is the better to bench, or is it start? Looks like the second option, but sometimes some top options are missing there. So the benching ranking works that, yeah, the number 1 is the best player and the number 17 is the worst player. There are always some top players missing, but that's because, like, I don't put Haaland in the benching ranking, or I don't put Foden in it. I don't put Bruno in it because no one's going to bench them realistically. I tend to only include the players that I think are actually, people are actually considering benching, basically. I didn't see the AJ fight. Who won? Who won? I'm presuming AJ won. You're off to the game. Hopefully you have an awful day out. AJ won. Good. I mean, easily or not? Oh, right. How many rounds? Oh, 6 rounds. To be fair, he did better than I thought he would do. Did better than I thought he would do. But I was basically said last night, and I mean, I don't watch a lot of boxing, right? So I don't know. But I was like, if Anthony Joshua doesn't win that fight, I will forever believe that boxing is rigged. So at least, yeah. He ran for 6 rounds and then got fine. Well, at least that's good, right? Because I was literally like, if he doesn't win, I'm gonna believe that it's rigged. Basically, you're thinking, oh, future plans, yeah. Right, future plans. Basically, with my team, I've got a few things. It depends on Thiago. If Thiago blanks again, I could just do Thiago to someone like an Ekatike or a Bowen. I think that's the first thing I've got to decide is Ekatike versus Bowen. And I think I probably want Ekatike more. But I do like Bowen. Because I could also do Guiu to Bowen. That was the initial plan. This was the initial plan. Guiu to Bowen. Semenyo to Potts. This was the initial plan. To Potts. Lineup available on FlashScore is not the official lineup. Those are always just predictions. Anderson stays. And I'm 0.1 short of that, of doing Bowen in for Guiu and Semenyo to Potts. I'll probably be 0.2 short of it. Fancy challenge code will be in the top left in a moment for you. There. Here. If you want to join the Fancy Challenge league code, join that. If not, you want to join the main league code, use the other league code up there. Challenge code there. 2S17H9. If you want the main league code, 5S23TM. So yeah, I'll be 0.2 short of that because I probably won't make it tonight. But I could just sell Anderson. The thing is, if Anderson looks all right tonight, he does have a couple of good games, but I just don't think he's really worth it. But I don't really want to go down from Anderson. Like, I don't really want Potts and Anderson. But is Potts better than Anderson? Oh, my club team. Thank you, I haven't. And I'm still over budget. I've been playing without a goalkeeper for 3 weeks because I have David Raya as my only goalkeeper and I'm over budget. But I signed Donnarumma on loan this week. So, some free gems. Thank you very much. Who's in the store? Diaz, Reinders. Ooh, Diaz. Don't need Diaz. So, my club team for this week. Wilson up front on his own. Harry Wilson up front. So, in goal, Donnarumma. In defence, Mark Gay, O'Reilly, Guardiola, Senesi, Foden, Bruno, Rice, Tavernier, Cherky, Wilson. I have to admit, my club team looks legit this week. What do you think? I think it looks good this week. Think it looks good. I'm very happy with it. Fingers crossed. I've actually got a goalkeeper this week as well. Think it actually looks good this week. Yeah, my club team's better than my FPL team, for sure. Definitely is. Oh. When your team looks good, that's usually a bad sign for you. Yeah, that's possible. So, yeah, I need to decide. I need to watch Liverpool today and decide whether I want Ekitike or whether I'm fine with Bowen. Because I've always been set on Bowen, and I like the fixtures long term. I like the minutes. If he was on penalties as well, that would be, yeah, pretty nice with him. But it doesn't look like he will be. It'll probably be Paqueta. I haven't seen Pigeons. I left London just for this weekend, and you don't see them when you're not in London, basically. Will I still go for Ekitike if you already own Szoboszlai? I'll probably no. Like, this is the thing. I could end up going... Like, I could go Saka here to Szoboszlai. Or Saka here to Cunha. Thiago, Bowen. And then I could upgrade Anderson to, I don't know, someone else. 7-5. Could almost keep Semenyo. Cunha, Foden, Pot, Bowen, Thiago. Like, that's probably better. I need to consider selling Saka. I need to consider if Saka's worth the money. Will you be opening the pack today? I opened it this morning, but... I opened the pack this morning already. Chelsea and Newcastle team. Let's have a look. Did Pope return? No. Ramsdale, Lewis Hall, Shah, Chaël, and Miley. Ramsey in midfield with Bruno G and Tonali, with Murphy, Gordon, Voltemada front three. Chelsea team. Enzo benched. Enzo benched. Wow. Sanchez, Gusto, Chalobah, Fofana, Cucurella, James, Caicedo, Neto, Palmer, Garnacho, João Pedro. It's not the end of the world if you're an Enzo owner, because I'd say he's pretty likely to come on for Palmer at about 60 and play in the 10. It's not the end of the world. But that is quite surprising. I just use Twitter to check the lineups. Just go on the Chelsea page. I follow all of the Premier League teams, so Enzo benched. Wow. Did something just happen with the mic again? Because it's just started flashing. You know how the mic potentially broke earlier, but it might not have done. It's just weird, like it's flashing. I reckon Cherky will start. That's really weird. I'm going to take a video of it. Mic sounds fine. That's really weird. That's never happened before. Maybe there is something wrong. Maybe it doesn't like the new wire that I'm using. Weird. Weird. So glad you didn't bring in Semenyo. Wait, Olympian captain Semenyo? Surely not. I thought he was on Haaland. Late captain switch. Well, that's good for Haaland. Yeah, but that's not right, though. That's never happened before. Szoboszlai or Ekitike. If you can go Ekitike, I would definitely prefer him. You're thinking to sell Voltemada and Thiago to Bowen and Ekitike next week. Yeah, I really like it. If you can find the money to do that, I would, yeah. Best burn replacement, you would have 5.1 in the bank. I probably would go Keane now. Yeah, I probably would go Keane. Right. I'm probably going to wrap it up there. Team news is out. Stream is locked in. Anderson Derby on Monday night. We will be there. I wonder how many times I can tweet about the Anderson Derby between now and Monday night. We'll be there. We'll be back with a video on Sunday evening, I imagine. Maybe Monday morning, but I'm pretty sure I'll be able to do it for Sunday evening. Thank you all very much. Pope is not back in the squad yet. Nope. Yeah, that is all. Thank you all very much. Those 2,500 of you are still watching. I really do appreciate all of your support. I hope you have a lovely weekend. I hope you get a green arrow. And I will catch you all in a video this week. Have a lovely Christmas. And then I will catch you all on Boxing Day after Christmas for the next stream. So if you're going to be back for the video, I'll see you in the comments. If not, have a lovely Christmas and I will see you after.